Three.
Four.
Excellent. We're live now. Well, not live, but we're recording now, aren't we?
Mm.
Yeah, I got a little red dot up in the corner. Said REC, so that's good.
And Rockers.
Well, obviously, we did we had a conversation, didn't we, with Christmas, and Jem was there. I think it was just me, Damon, and it was also obviously Joe because he's recording it, and myself. And the topic was ghosts, wasn't it? And we thought that we follow up quickly on the footsteps of that one and do one about another paranormal element. So we thought maybe UFOs. Now, I don't personally have any real experiences about UFOs. They've kind of interested me, and it's like everything. I think that anything that is considered to be in the field of the paranormal is somehow interconnected with each other in some way. Obviously, I don't know what those connections are, but obviously, I've just been studying the field of life after death and the spirit realm and that type of element. I've not really studied anything to do with the ufology, but it's an interesting subject. And one of the things that I find most interesting about it, which has piqued my interest for quite a few years, is that in the last, I don't know, maybe last 10, 20 years, they've started to, a lot of these cryptid sightings in the United States, which are now apparently becoming quite, well, the people are experiencing over here now as well in deep forest and wooded areas. And a lot of the cryptids have generally been associated with ufology activity. I'm no expert. I haven't got a clue. For that field, for me, is totally new. It's a mystery to me, as it is to most, but me in particular, because I've never really looked into it. But from the cryptid point of view, I've always been interested in that, because obviously working with animals and working in a zoological environment, I have been called out to look at certain prints that are out in the field, such as big cats. There was one that had escaped, or was believed to have been escaped and rampant in the Hertfordshire area. And
Dan,
yes,
do you just wanted to explain to people who don't really know what cryptids are, what they actually are?
yeah, they're basically a cryptid is an undiscovered animal or an undiscovered being. So things like Bigfoot.
Everybody would have heard of Bigfoot.
Yeah, things like Bigfoot. Also, you've got, which is really becoming not so much popular, but it's becoming more talked about now, is something called the dog man. Now, it's not, it's a canid. It's not a werewolf per se, but people have described it as being like a werewolf.
Walking on 2 feet.
Walking on 2 feet, yeah. And the way that the leg is constructed very much like a dog leg. So people, when people forgive them for seeing something on the right-hand side and thinking, oh, well, that's a wolf or that's a dog. But when it stands up on 2 legs, and those 2 legs are actually shaped like a dog's, but it's got human hands, which is what a lot of people are reporting. And they've reported them over here now as well. A couple of people reported seeing them over here. Now, I know that people say, you can't possibly have anything like that over here because it's too small a landmass. And I used to always subscribe to that. We haven't got enough land over here. We're a pocket. We're a little island. There's no way that something like that could exist here without being seen or being noticed. However, if you think of it from a ufology point of view, where it comes from a different dimension, or it comes from a craft. I don't know. Which may be a reason behind it not being discovered or seen. But I don't know. But
you mean come and go between this sort of reality and another one?
Yeah,
whether
it's a parallel universe, whether it's they're now talking about ufology, and they have been for quite some time, but I think it's becoming more prominent now that they talk about ufology not being so much a galaxy leap, or it's more of a dimensional leap. I think it was, who was it who said, I can't think of the chap's name now. He's an English, he worked for MOD, and he was Britain's answer to Fox Mulder.
Nick Redfern.
Not Nick Redfern, no. There's another guy, I can't think his name. But anyway, he's the way that he described it, and I thought it was a great way of describing it. People are saying, well, how comes you can see things and you can't see them at certain times? And he said, well, look at it like this. There's many dimensions, but look at those dimensions as a block of flats. and each room or each flat is a different dimension. And there are certain times when you'll come out onto the landing of that dimension, and then somebody will come out of their flat onto that landing, and then you'll see them, and then they'll move back into their dimension, and they won't be seen again. It's very convoluted and intricate, and the more it screws my head, to be honest. But I think, hey mate,
just quickly before you go into more detail, when you mentioned that dog man, back in the day there was a tribe. I used to know all this because I was into this I've been into ufology and that for years, back from about 2001 onwards, but I kind of waned off that after 2012. But there was a tribe, can't remember the name of the tribe, I should know it, but they spoke of, well, they knew about the solar system already, and the Sirius star is called the dog star.
Yes.
Apparently they reckon the dog men came down from, it probably sounds crazy, but they came from Sirius, the dog star, and they was like canine looking, and they taught them what was, the whole solar system, what was out there. How could they have knowledge of that? Because you can see it in cave paintings and everything like that. How would they have the knowledge of that? So I just want to touch on that.
The Egyptians painted a lot of that as well, didn't they?
Well, yeah, you had Anubis, didn't you? Which was the jackal, the dog-like animal as well. But so yeah, I mean, it's even more recent than some of these sort of Neolithic or Paleolithic cultures. But it's interesting as well that a lot of those cultures, if you look at a lot of the sites that we've got on this planet now, all of these sacred sites like Stonehenge and is it Machu Picchu and all that, a lot of them, they line up. And if you, I believe I've heard, and don't quote me on this because it might be wrong, but I believe that if you take those structures in a line and then you spin them upside down, then what you actually will have is a representation of the galaxy. So, and these are people that built these 5, 6, 20,000 years ago, some of these, and but they had that knowledge now, and it's that knowledge that is only becoming revealed to us today. So I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. But it's always perplexed me. But you'd know more about it than I do, Joe, because obviously you've been into it.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago, and I kind of forgot specific names of things and all that. I should have done some research for this video, really, but I didn't get the chance to. But back in the day, well, actually, from when let's go back to how we did the paranormal sort of video that we did last time, but how I really got into kind of aliens and ET and things like that was back in the day. My dad had War of the Worlds on vinyl, and I used to listen to that.
It's a great album.
To get scared as well. That piqued my interest, and since then it's all come along. And then there was this UFO. I can't remember what I was. Where my dog? There was a UFO appear in the sky, and my dad's like this really big skeptic. He's out there taking photographs. It really looked like a spacecraft, and I was really scared. I was really scared because I was thinking, oh no, it's the War of the Worlds. Then they switched the lights on. It was an air balloon for Daily Star. But since then, my interest has been piqued. I'd look up at the stars and think, right, that the Star Wars characters are out there somewhere up among the stars. And I've done a lot of research. I've seen UFOs. I've experienced things. I've even done alien meditation where you can contact. It probably sounds crazy, but that's what I did. And since doing that, I've been more open and aware that I will look up at the night sky and see something. And I've said to people, come with me for a minute. And these are people that don't believe, like my mom. Look up at the sky, and I swear to you, within 20 minutes, you're going to see something.
Yeah.
And they did. They did.
Yeah.
But what you've got to look at is something that would be interesting for you to read and the viewers, something called the Terror Papers, TERRA Papers. It's free to download. I think it was Robert Morningsky. It was basically it's a story about an alien spacecraft that crash landed in America near a tribe of native Indians, and Robert Morningsky is an ancestor of those. And basically, the alien told the Indians the story. And these Terror Papers is where George Lucas got the idea for Star Wars. And if you've read it, you can sort of get an idea. And then they say about the moon and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I could go on for ages about aliens, UFOs. So I'm gonna let someone else have a go now.
But it's one of those subjects, isn't it, that the more you discuss it and think about it, the more questions are thrown up. It's one of them things that
out there as well. But
didn't you actually get followed, Joe?
Yeah. Actually, I've had these strange dreams as well. When I was a kid, that it's kind of strange, right? I'd be outside, and there'll be like this star object just fall out of the sky and follow me about. And then a few years after that, what am I doing? Looking up at the sky and seeing these weird when I say star-like objects, I know what a satellite looks like and all that. But I see them. And one time, it was in Barking, there was these two stars going across kind of like that. And they went boom, boom, and then off. And someone said that they saw it as well, and it was going towards Heathrow Airport. But there's another time I was in Ramsgate. There's an old Roman fort there, and I had my telescope set up. And the woman I was with, we both looked up and we saw like this square craft with Rocco with a blue light in the middle.
Is that an alien in your lounge?
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah. And it just went straight across the sky, but it was like see-through, but you could see it, and it was so fast. But yeah, there's a lot, and you just got to look at the Apollo 20 mission, which they say was a hoax. What I believe is it's a true story. It's just that they recreated the footage for it because they couldn't show the real footage, because there is evidence that there was an Apollo 20 launch, but they're trying to say it's a hoax. And there was something on the moon. And I'll let someone else, because I'll end up talking for hours.
No, I think there's more snippets now becoming available, not just online, but I think like members of the American government have kind of intimated that in a roundabout way that yes, there is something. It kind of eking it out rather than telling you straight out.
Yeah,
you know, it seems to be. I can't remember the guy was. He was some big general in America, and they asked him about life on other planets and is there any? Have we been sort of visited by aliens? Have we got connections to them? And he kind of like, well, you can't really rule it out. Which to me is kind of like him saying, yeah, it probably is. I mean, But I remember the one thing that I saw was there was a guy who I used to ghost hunt with, really, and he was really a ufologist, and he'd been doing it for years and years and years and years. And like I say, I'm a novice. I haven't got a clue about UFOs. But he said, I'll take you to Skywatch, which is, they go out and they just look up in the sky. And he said, I'll take you to a place. He said, well, you'll see. I was saying to you, Damon, I was telling you that he called it, it's sort of not a quantum leap. It was something like that. It was very sci-fi. It was very sort of Star Trek, Star Wars. And I said, what do you do? So we went into this field in the middle of nowhere, and he said, just keep looking up. And there was this funny shaped cloud, and it was shaped like a disc, but it was massive. And then all of a sudden, from around this cloud, this massive, no thunder, but it's massive, what looked like a strike of lightning, illuminated the whole edge of the cloud. And I thought, well, it's just a storm, isn't it? It's just lightning. That's nothing really special. But he said, then he showed me when we went back to his house, he showed me the weather reports of the area, and there wasn't any storms anywhere near that area. And he said that it was at one of these quantum leaps or something, which I don't know how they know all this, to be honest. I don't know whether it's supposition or whether they've got information from, other sources that are more credible. I don't know. But it's one of those things that always have me scratching my head and thinking, well, I just wonder. I wonder, But I've always found it interesting. But as I say, the thing for me is the cryptid element, these unusual beasts that that seemingly or don't seem to be part of this planet because
like
I don't know.
Chupacabra, I can't pronounce it. Chupacabra.
Oh, Chupacabra, yeah, the Mexican, yeah. The black goat sucker, I think it means, doesn't it? Yeah. But you got that, and you've also got. I mean, there's loads of it, and now you got something there's a guy called Paulides in America. I don't know what to think about him really, but the subject that he's looking into, or he's been looking into, and there's a lot of people that have jumped on the bandwagon with him, is called the Missing 411. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about the Missing 411.
Sounds familiar. I might have heard it on Howard Hughes or something.
Yeah, you very well could have heard it on Howard Hughes. It's the type of subject, obviously, that you go after. But it was like there's literally thousands of people that have gone into the wilderness and just gone missing. Now you think, well, yeah, of course people go missing every day. Of course there's going to be thousands of people going missing in the wilderness. But the thing is that these people have always been within 100 or 20 or 50 yards of so they've just gone missing, which is just, I can't get my head around it. And when they do eventually find them, or they find parts of their bodies or their bodies, sometimes they don't find anything. They've always find their shoes and their trousers folded and put down. Now, a lot of one of the FBI guys said that, well, what happens is with hypothermia, you get hot, believe it or not. So you start to strip off. But it just seems to be a common thread. And another thing that they've worked out is that all these people have some sort of disability.
In the wilderness, the last thing you take off would be your shoes, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it's weird. It's just odd.
Heat goes out your head.
It's just odd. It's just odd. I mean, there's so many things that you think, well, and then he's linked it to people that have gone missing over here around the Manchester area, which is, I think there's one called they believe there's a serial killer on the loose in Manchester called the Pusher, and there's these guys that come out of this sort of gay club, and a lot of them have been found drowned in the canal there. And then when this Paulides and somebody else got involved with it, as I said, I can't speak for much of the credibility of him because I don't really know much about him. But when they studied it, they all came over here, and because it said it replicates what happens in America, that they don't find these bodies in the areas that they search for days and days and days, and then they'll go back, and all of a sudden the body will be there.
It's really strange that someone can go missing completely in this day and age, isn't it? I mean, with the amount of CCTV, I mean, even dash cams recording people walking down the street. Whenever there's a crime, you know, the police can gather so much evidence from CCTV, and then yet someone will go missing, and they're last seen at that point, and nowhere further from there.
No,
it's just really odd, really odd. Sometimes.
It's like, I mean, if you think as well, they can pinpoint people like Osama bin Laden in a cave in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know, so it's almost impossible to go off the radar.
It's like them planes that went missing, them whole airliners, Ryanair, I think it's called, isn't it? That just vanished.
Yeah,
they could find it with sonar or radar or whatever, but
they've not even found a scrap of evidence of it, have they? There's no wreckage or anything. And I don't think that's the only plane to have done that. I think over the years there's been.
You got the Bermuda Triangle for one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, you got that, haven't you? Yeah, you got that. Yeah. Whatever's going on there, I don't know, but I don't know. I mean,
well, apparently, I'm going to sound like a real what do you call it? What's the word? Conspiracy theorist. That's it. But apparently, the reason why the West went to war with Saddam Hussein, obviously he done those crimes, but you got to think where Iraq is situated. Where is it situated?
It's in the Middle East, isn't it?
The ancient world of Sumerians.
Oh, it's the Sumerians, yeah.
Ancient, that we know of, ancient civilization. And supposedly there is a Stargate there, and the West wanted that technology. So that's one of the reasons. Because he had no mass destruction.
After this last year, nothing had surprised me anymore. But it's intriguing, isn't it? The Sumerians, that's quite an interesting subject, isn't it? Because they treated like gods, weren't they?
Yeah, and the aliens that visited them was the Anunnaki, which is supposedly who's in control of everything at the moment.
Yeah, it is odd. It is odd. So what I'm trying to find out is, do you think the Queen and the royal family are lizards?
Ask David Icke.
Ask David Icke.
No, I don't think. I believe in shape shifting, but not. I don't know.
I don't think they are, but I mean,
no.
any sort of aliens that come down, or any aliens that are anywhere, they're not going to be humanoid like us, are they? I doubt very much whether.
No, they will be humanoid, but
well, I don't know. Their ecosystem is going to be different to this one, so they'll have evolved differently in their planetary system to us. So they're not going to look the same as us. I wouldn't have thought anyway. You know, I mean, there's some weird stuff on this planet already. You know, it's just.
Well,
I don't think they're going to look like great big grasshoppers or anything like that.
That'd be cool if they did, though.
Thing is, I think that light you've got above your head, the greys, is from Zeta Reticuli system. That's what I think most of them will look like. But then there are some that probably look like us, like the Pleiadians or Pleiadians, what they're called. And then you've got the Nordic ones.
Yeah, the tall blonde ones, aren't they?
Sorry? Yeah,
the tall blonde ones.
Well, they think we come from the Pleiades, don't they? They think that's how we got populated on this planet, from the Pleiades.
But if you read the Terra papers, it kind of goes more into depth about that and how we came about to be. They reckon we was placed on here as a slave race to mine it, but we kind of somehow managed to get emotion. And I'm not going to spoil the story, but I advise you read it.
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, DNA could have just traveled through space from one planet to another. It does do that. You know, rocks and dust and stuff from other planets is always falling onto Earth. So what's on it? You know, there's organisms on Earth, I think they've just found, don't they, or recently found, that will survive in space.
There's really extreme places on Earth that they've, like you just said, they've found bacterium organisms that there'll be life there. But you just got to look up at the stars and just think that ain't even close to what's out there. So just to be alone,
no.
Well, we'd have to be pretty cocky to think we're the only intelligent race.
I think we do, though,
in
don't
the whole
we?
Galaxy.
I think we generally do, though. I think that's a lot of our trouble, really. We generally do think that we're the most intelligent life form around. So,
see, I think I
personally think we're one of the least intelligent, to be honest.
I think the other thing as well is that everything that we think about is based on our intelligence and our knowledge and our understanding. So, you know, there's lots of people that would just completely poo-poo the idea of spacecraft, saying, well, you know, you could never get a flying saucer to, you know, sort of move from there to there at that sort of speed and shift direction.
Not on the technology that we know about.
Yeah, that we know about. That's the thing, isn't it? Because it's all based on our experience and our understanding. But if there's a far more intelligent life form than us, then they may have had those answers years and years ago, you know?
See, you're right.
100 years ago, people wouldn't think you could put a headset on and be a completely different world straight away, would they?
Well, no.
I mean, even this that we're doing is, you know, this conversation that we're having over these devices now is the, you know, thing of science fiction movies in the 50s, isn't it? You'd never have thought this was possible.
Getting back to what you just said about people not open-minded enough to believe in it. Also, what Dan said as well about the government slowly leaking things out. I don't think unless they actually land and we see it, all of us, mass landings and that. I think they're slowly trickling it out. They say straight away there's aliens. You imagine what that's going to do to really super religious people. Like, I'm not saying it's. Do you get what I mean? It'll ruin. Not ruin. It'll completely change the way people.
But it would make people think that what we're being, you know, if we're being told the wrong thing on that, then we shouldn't listen to people in power, and that would just cause absolute chaos.
But I think
that's why we're dumbed down.
After this year, I think we should get more trickled out.
Yeah.
I think this has prepared us. This whole lockdown.
To be honest, I think if I found out that if they said like in the morning, oh yeah, there's alien life and they've been visiting us, I really wouldn't be that surprised. I wouldn't be that.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be that worried, because if they have been visiting for decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years, we're all still here. They've not come and murdered us all, have they?
No, it's the thing, isn't it?
So, you know, it's And there's lots of stories of especially over military bases where they've got nuclear weapons and things, where just like Rendlesham, you know, they're keeping an eye on places like that to make sure we don't blow ourselves up.
Well, yeah,
so, you know,
they stopped the launch once, didn't they? A test launch. They stopped it, or supposedly.
They hovered over it, didn't they?
Yeah.
A friend of mine used to do a lot of he used to do a lot of night watching over some Sellafield, I think it was, the nuclear power station. And he wasn't one of these off the wall loons. He was a normal guy, and he used to go with his wife because it was just a hobby they had. And he said that they'd seen a lot of activity over the power station with what could only be described as unusual looking craft. Now, he didn't say they were alien. He just said they were unusual looking craft. And he said the one thing that they got terrified with was that a car had followed them for about an hour all around the area where they were going and just sat back. And then on the way home, the car pulled them in. And he didn't know who it was. He said they didn't declare who they were, but they said that they were obviously authority, but they told him that they didn't want to see him or his wife anywhere near the power plant again. Now, whether that was security protecting the power plant or whether it was, I don't know.
I think it's more likely to be that, but yeah,
it is. But he had quite a few stories. But it's like the thing about the alien greys, isn't it? I mean, I saw and you know what? You don't know what to believe, do you? I mean, half of these videos you see online, they could be fabricated. They could be, who knows? Who really knows? And I would go along with the school of thought that most of them were just nonsense. But there was one that I saw, and there was this American guy, and he was, whether he's CIA or I don't know what he was, but he was interviewing this grey that they captured or whatever, crashed or whatever, and they were talking to this grey, and he could talk English, this grey, and eventually he got out of this grey that they weren't interdimensional, that they weren't alien, that they were us.
From the future,
from the future,
to save us from.
And they're coming back now to which again smacks very much of Terminator, doesn't it?
Yeah,
they're coming back to save us from ourselves, but I don't know.
Probably save us from more COVID-related stuff.
Yeah.
I think actually also scientists agree now, don't they, that time travel is possible. We just don't have the know-how.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I reckon they've been doing it with that Hadron's Collider. They've been doing some crazy stuff.
Oh, the Hadron Collider.
I reckon they've opened up some dimensions because someone had a live video stream. Sorry, Rocco. Someone had a live video stream going, and you see these like orbs coming out of like this dark space, and you zoom in and you can see like faces and stuff. But whether that's your imagination, like when you look up at a cloud, you can see a face. You know what I mean?
But they were looking for the God particle, wasn't it? And I think they found it, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They might have discovered it now. But it wouldn't surprise me if that Hadron Collider, and I don't know anything about that type of science, but it wouldn't surprise me if buggering about with that has open up portals and dimensions. Because there seems to be an awful lot of
Stargate, aren't we?
Yeah,
Stargate. There's an awful lot of weird things happened.
It could create a small miniature black hole. I reckon it could create.
That would swallow us all, wouldn't
it? Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it did.
But that's the thing, isn't it? That's what they call it. The the something universe, isn't it?
Parallel.
No, the what you call it universe, where they believe that we've been swallowed into a black hole, and what's been played now is all time memories.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I can't think what it's called. It's something universe. Somebody out there will know it. But it's an interesting subject. It's just that it screws with your head, doesn't it? The more you think of it, the more it screws with your head, which is why I'll probably just stick to ghosts and spirits. I can handle that. I can understand that. But it makes me laugh.
I was thinking as well, Dan, about you were talking about ghosts, and we were talking the other day about time slips.
Yes,
and I'm wondering
that's what I want to get onto.
Yeah, whether ghosts actually time slip, because a lot of the time it's following an event that happened years ago, isn't it? And then and then they don't, like, regularly every Thursday at 6 p.m. they will haunt that site. No. They just sort of seem. It's like I was telling you about something I remembered from back when I was a kid. There's a house not far from where I live now, actually, but there's a house quite close to the school that I went to, and there was reputedly a headless horseman that would sometimes be seen in that particular area. And there was a bit of a strange story that I remember my mum telling me about it when I was little. The old man went out to prune the roses in the back garden and found that there were horse hoof prints in the lawn. And we lived at the time on a council estate. You never ever saw a horse on this estate. And my mum woke up because she heard horse noises, and she looked out the bedroom window, couldn't see anything. And it was the following day that my dad saw these hoof prints in the lawn. And then we were talking about, I wonder whether it's anything to do with this headless horseman down the road that's reputedly wanders around the grounds of this big old house. And I was looking up the other day to see if I can find any more info on it, and there was a reported sightings of a headless horseman, or sorry, not a headless horseman, a horseman going through a woods, which is literally probably 4 miles away from where the house is. And that woods, we actually lived in that woods, in a little thatched cottage in that woods for the first 2 years of our life, of my life, So I'm wondering whether that had some bearing on it appearing at the address where I lived when I was a kid, or, but that apparently that hasn't been seen since 1972 or something. So
that's the thing,
I don't know whether they hop in and out of time, whether that's to do with it, or, it's quite strange.
It's similar one. I mean, I got called in to investigate a pub called The Boot in St Albans, and The Boot is reputed. I mean, it's rotten haunted, really, really badly haunted, and they called us in there to do investigation. And I went in there twice, and I remember a guy that was doing investigation with us knew he had a friend who'd gone there one New Year's Eve, and his friend had gone into the pub in front of him, and then he's parked the car. He wasn't drinking because he was a designated driver, and he's followed them into the pub. But when he's gone in the pub, his friends aren't there, but there's people in powdered wigs all sitting around.
Wow.
And they've looked at him, and he's looked at them, and he backed out. And then his friends came out and went, "Well, you're coming in." He went, "Well, no." And he couldn't speak properly. And eventually they got him to go in, and it had gone back to modern day. And the same pub itself, there was a girl that went in there. I think she wanted to just use the toilet. And this was during the day. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Busy, And she'd gone in there, and she described it. Well, she went, there was these people in wigs, and there was a big barman with a leather apron. And she said they just all looked at me and laughed. So they could see her, and she could see them. So there's some sort of intelligent interaction going on there. Mm. So whether she's walked through a time slip or there's a portal there or what, I don't know. But the one thing that I do know, when you do a report or you do an investigation, you need to put a report together to find out every aspect of the haunting that's gone on there, every nook and cranny, even to the point of the people that have experienced stuff. Are they taking any tablets for mental health or anything like that? It's really that intricate if you're going to do it properly. And then you need to work out whether the drugs that they're taking are, whether they're choice for people having seeing apparitions or having illusions or So we did that, and then we went into this pub, and this dog walked past me. I thought when I put my hand down, I'll move out of the way. There was nothing there. And then the landlord said to me, "Oh," he said, "you just felt the dog, haven't you?" I went, "Well, yeah." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Quite a big dog," because he came up sort of my hip. He said, "Yeah." He said, "There's a spirit dog here." He said, "that comes in and out of this part of the pub." He went, "And I felt him, and the bar staff have felt him." He said, "Now you have." And there was a lot going on in that pub, but the activity had turned up really, really powerfully and really, really frighteningly in the last, well, going back to when I did it, 15 years prior to that. And we're trying to work out why has this changed? What is here, or what's happened here, or what's changed here that has made this become more paranormal, more activity, more, you know, all sorts of weird and wonderful things going on. And then we linked it. They're right opposite. Literally, you come out of the pub and you walk opposite. And for 15 years or 16 years, when this was being ramped up, this activity, they opened up opposite a crystal healing and angel Reiki workshop. And they had psychics and that in there. And it was like, well, is the energy that's coming from there opening up a portal directly to here? And that's where that energy is then opening it up and allowing more activity. Don't know. But that shop has since closed down. But I've had a chance to go back and ask the guy whether the activity in the pub's gone, the volume's gone down on it or not. But it'd be interesting. I will have to do that one day. But it's just intriguing, isn't it? Really, it's just, I don't know. But time slips are something that interested me as well, because there's so many stories about them out there. You know, I don't know. Has anybody else had it, or has anybody had anything like that happen to them?
No, not a time slip. I don't think I have. You may well have done and not known about it. You know, if you're not being particularly observant at the time.
Oh yeah.
I've heard stories of people in like big department stores. I think that was on Howard Hughes as well, where they were sort of stood in there, and then suddenly everyone was in like old clothing, and the shop was different, just for a few minutes, and then it switched back again. And I don't know. I wonder sometimes if that's more of if you believe in past life things, whether that's a past life memory come into the fore, or
who knows?
I don't know.
No, that's
I don't know about time slips, but I know that my wage slips look like they're from an earlier time, about 10 years ago.
That's the thing, isn't it?
I've not had time slip, but I've read about and researched about. They call it the Mandela effect.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Specific one is the Statue of Liberty. There was actually a terrorist attack there before this, just after the Second World War, or during the Second World War, by the Germans. Like just after it got built, I think it was open a year or two, and then there was a big explosion, and they shut it down to the public, and it's never been open to the public since then. But then people actually remember going up to the top.
Yeah.
And it's just, and there's a lot of other things like things changing the way it's smelt, all sorts of stuff. But I think that all started to happen. Things changing. I mean, you've got some of the Disney films changing as well to what we remember. An actual film that everybody remembers doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And I think that started happening about just when this Hadron Collider thing started up. So
a lot of it seems to happen as well since 2012.
Yeah, so I think that's another form of a time slip that we all remember, I think, and it didn't happen, or it happened differently.
Yeah,
that's like we were talking about this before with Austin. Austin would have been a good one on this, the Mandela effects. I know he's read a lot about that, but it's like the show Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Do you remember it being called Sex in the City?
It was Sex in the City.
Yeah, Sex in the City, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's not. It's Sex and the City.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at all the DVD covers, the video covers, it's Sex and the City.
But then
I remember it as Sex in the City.
Yeah.
That's weird. There was something else, wasn't there? There was another one. I can't remember what it was now, but there was something else. And
there was Star Wars, wasn't there? Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah.
But he didn't say that at all, did he? Everybody remembers it as Luke, I am your father. I can't remember what. Even the guy who played the part, I can't remember the fella's name now. But
Mark Hamill.
No, the guy who played
Vader.
Prowse.
David Prowse.
Yeah,
yes.
David Prowse.
Bristolian.
He remembered it totally differently. He remembered it the way that everybody else remembered it.
Yeah.
And then when they said to him, "No, this is what it is," and they played it, it was like, really? I don't remember that.
They might have been better off asking James Earl Jones, though, mightn't they?
It might have been James Earl Jones. It was James Earl Jones.
Oh,
it
right.
was James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the man's name.
The voice, didn't he? Yeah.
He did the voice,
I couldn't remember the fella's name. Yeah, it was James Earl Jones. But it's just weird, and a lot of company logos have changed as well, haven't they? They don't, like Ford is totally different now, and Coca-Cola, and it's just weird, isn't it? But I do think on some level that all of this paranormal activity, irrespective of what it was, ufology, whether it's cryptids, whether it's time slips, whether it's spirits, ghosts, whatever, it's all interrelated, I think.
Yeah.
It's all connected on some level.
Well, this is going to go deep into conspiracy theory now, so I might leave it alone. Maybe do it in another video if you have me on again. So there's something about the ghosts, the energy and stuff. This is probably too conspiracy, but the moon. They reckon on the dark side of the moon, an entity, I'm not going to say what, has got what's called a spirit catcher there. And it catches our souls as we pass on. And keeps
it catches our souls?
Our souls, yeah. Sorry, our souls. Sorry, I've got an accent.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I better be careful then if it catches our souls.
They do a good job around here.
There's plenty in Hartford. What was that then, Joe?
Why would we all pass through the moon, though?
No, we don't. It's on the backside of the moon, and it sucks out our souls in.
I might decide to go the other way.
Apparently, Hitler had a base on the moon, and it got we blew.
Nothing would surprise me with Hitler. Nothing.
There is some. Oh yeah, talking about time slips, right? Remember the Hitler's bell.
The Glock. The
Glock, yeah.
The Glock.
It was
yeah.
But he let it off in the air, and then a few years back, I don't know if it was 10 years back or something.
Landed in America, didn't it?
Yeah.
They did, but they turned around, didn't they? The kid, they saw it screaming. It's called the Glock and something, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
The bell, isn't it? But it's a time travel thing that the Germans were working on.
Yeah.
And they said it shot through the sky, and they thought it was a plane, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then it hit the forest, and bang! And then the kids went down there and saw this bell.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the military had turned up with this massive truck, covered this thing over, got it on, drove it out, and then said everybody, shut up, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And the whole town was sworn to not open their mouth about it.
He was obsessed with time travel, I think, wasn't he, Hitler? There was there's a framework, some pillar somewhere that he was using that was part of an experiment for it. I can't remember the story of that. It wasn't in Germany, I don't think. It was
in Eastern Europe somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it Russia or somewhere like that? I don't know.
Yeah, it was somewhere like that, Russia or Yugoslavia or somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think I've actually looked at that on Wonder. So you can actually see it on there, I think.
It looks like a big. Do you know? It reminded me of one of those big frameworks where they put the gas chambers things into.
Yeah, the big gas. Like four big grey pillars, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But you wouldn't know what they were up to, would you? Because I mean, all the rocket scientists there was Operation Paperclip, wasn't it? But when the Americans and that swept into sort of Germany and occupied it after the war, they took all the scientists, all the rocket scientists, so back to the States and Operation Paperclip, and they used them there to forward the space program. Yeah. Or so it's said. Whether it's out, I don't know. I better be careful. I don't want somebody knocking on my door. But yeah, it's interesting. But it's one of those things that you could just talk about forever, really, and never find an answer. But that's probably the exciting thing about it, isn't it? That there you can't find the answer.
I think you find the answer when it's your time to move on to the next chapter, I call it.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, possible, isn't it?
As long as your arse don't get caught on the moon.
The thing is, energy never goes anywhere, does it? It's your energy is always left. So
you can't destroy it, can you? Energy can't be destroyed.
What about crop circles?
I wonder if that's what I mean by Mooney. or mooning, when he's mooning, showing your ass to the world. But no, you can't. Energy can't be destroyed, can it? It just moves on. I think the best analogy of that I ever heard was it's like water. You get water, it's there, it's material. You stick it into the kettle, you boil the kettle, steam goes off, the kettle empties if you leave it on long enough. It vapors, but where does it go? You can't get rid of it. It goes somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
It comes back. That's condensation.
That's in my van.
There's no mine. I got well insulated in here now.
Done well in that. Done well in there.
So what about crop circles?
I had a friend, the same guy that used to do the ufology, who done most of them in this country. Him and his wife. They went round making them. And because I mean, he was really into ufology and ghosts, and I went, "What about crop circles?" He went, "Bollocks." And they were interconnected with people all around the world that used to do them. So there was different teams or groups, or there was some network going on. I'm only going on what he told me.
Bit like these monoliths that are appearing everywhere. Then,
yeah, with the bad welding.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame Austin didn't come on. He'd have been right up his street, wouldn't it?
You'll have to do a part 2 when he's free again.
Yes, definitely. Your football should be on soon.
What's the best UFO footage you've ever seen? Mine is that UFO incident in Turkey. I think it was around 2008. It's over the sea. You see the spacecraft. And if you zoom in, you actually see what looks like an alien grey inside. And I do a lot of CGI. There's no way that is CGI. It could have been something else, but no way. And the other one is a radar image. You've got like a UFO. You've got Earth here. There's a UFO or a light coming towards Earth. There's a flash from Earth. They launch a missile, and this thing is coming along. Boom! And it's boom and gone. There's
that guy down by Austin, isn't there, in Western? Can't remember his name now, but he uses night vision to watch Star Wars going on above in the sky. So he says there's dogfights and all sorts going on
really?
In space. Yeah. Have you not heard that, Dan?
No.
No, that's why I bought my tank night vision thing.
I didn't even notice. Never even heard of that. No, not the fighting stuff.
That'd be buying a night vision.
I'll be out in the garden. I'll be out in the garden in my pants tomorrow night.
Don't take my arsehole.
But yeah, no, I've not heard of that.
He sits on high ground and just all night and just uses night vision looking at the sky. And he says that you can see like the dots going around being chased off, and they're not just satellites or anything. They're going all different directions, and you can see groups of them being chased off by other groups. And yeah, that's very interesting.
But I would think now's a good time to do it because there won't be many planes up in the air, will there?
No, exactly.
So you should be able to see quite a bit, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I think the most compelling evidence I saw was the stuff that came out recently, the American fighter pilots. I can't think they were over the ocean, weren't they? And all of a sudden there's that dot down light, and it's like they could see it, and it shut off, and they couldn't believe their eyes.
That. Yeah,
what about
that was amazing.
International Space Station feeds, they cut off as soon as there's a light appear outside. They cut it off quickly.
Well, they were talking about the initial.
You've got the black night as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Orbiting the Earth.
Yeah, the Russians thought it was the Americans. The Americans thought it was a Russian satellite, but they both agreed it wasn't. And it's been there a long time.
Oh, really?
It's just a big dark block that just orbits the Earth, and they call it the Black Knight. I think it is.
There was a space program that was called the Black Knight, and that was launched a couple of years ago, which has something to do with that as well.
What was the one that? Yeah, there's lots of. I mean, there's loads of stuff going on there all the time that you can never really pin down. But the most compelling footage I've seen of an alien was that one where I'm no expert on CGI or anything, but it looked real to me, or it looked to be the most real to me. Was the one where they were talking to the alien grey, and he was saying that we're you from the future.
Was that where it was in a dark room?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been looking. I've watched it, and I'm still not 100%.
No, yeah, I'm no expert. It might be using a rubber mask for all I know.
Could be, yeah.
but you know, it just looked to me, it looked real, you know.
Well, you look at the Area 51 and what was it? The Roswell. That's it, Roswell.
Yeah, Area 50. Yeah.
There was a video there, wasn't there, of like an alien walking across the road? Did you see that?
No.
I didn't see that.
No. Actually, you know, very close to Area 51, someone filmed it. They actually got out of the car and sort of ran towards it, I think, with a camcorder, and it just disappeared. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'd have been off. I would. But then you got you got the physicist Bob Lazar.
Yeah, that element
was employed there, wasn't he?
He's supposed to have some of that element.
Yeah, he nicked some of it, I reckon, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. The Black Knight.
That's the Black Knight.
What's that?
It could just be space debris, but that's been orbiting the Earth.
But apparently,
nobody knows what it is.
The 1800s have said
it's probably a Nissan micro bumper.
Talking about astronomers from back in the day, there was some well-known astronomer, but I can't remember his damn name. I should have done some research about it. But he noticed on Mars channels being made, like channels appearing across Mars over the space of a year, and then they disappeared.
That's all those rovers we've sent up there making tracks, and then
no. This was by 1600s or 1800s, something like that. 1600s, I think it was. These channels just appearing on Mars and then disappearing a few years later. They reckon that there's a civilization and they have to channel the water out so it goes underground and they live underground.
It wouldn't surprise me. Nothing has surprised me. But there was a as well, and there was one of the Apollo missions. They went up there, they landed on the moon, and then one of the astronauts radioed back to NASA, or he was talking to NASA, and he said that there was activity over on the other side of the moon.
Yeah,
and they said, ignore it. We know, ignore it. Just ignore it. Don't take any notice of it. Don't acknowledge it. And they sort of shut him down pretty quickly. Mm. So, yeah, it'd be mad to think there isn't. Sorry?
Apparently, they was warned off of the moon as well. And when they hit the moon, it sounded like a bell, like resonating. And they could hear really strange music as they was approaching the moon. And if you look at the transcripts of the rate, they say that Santa Claus is real, just as they went in the shadow of the moon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a website I used to be a member of, abovetopsecret.com. They got all this sort of stuff, and you got the skeptics come in and they tear it to pieces just to see what they think. Yeah, this is valid. This ain't. You know what I mean? I used to be on that a lot. There's a lot of these stories on there as well, with videos and all that.
Isn't one of the latest theories that it's a satellite?
Well, it's a Death Star. But
yeah.
Now they reckon it was a part of a space weapon from caveman days, basically.
Oh, really?
But then there's so many theories of this, that, and the other. You don't know what.
You'd never get to the bottom of it. The water's muddied, isn't it?
Read them Terra papers, TERRA papers, and you'll get an idea of how George Lucas got the idea for the Death Star.
We'll definitely have a look at that. Definitely. Your football started, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been going 20 minutes, still 0-0.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. Carry on. I'll do another 10 minutes or so, and then I think Jen's probably cooking.
No, that's great. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm perplexed by it all. The more I think about it, the more confused I get. You know, you might think you've got a bit of an answer, and then 30 questions will come out of that answer, and it's like you're chasing it all the time. Maybe we're not meant, as I say, maybe we're not meant to know.
That's why I can't understand people that can just poo-poo the whole idea straight away. It's just like, you know.
Do you know what it's like when people say to me about ghosts? Oh, what a load of nonsense! It's there. I said, well, you right, okay. Why? Well, it's unbelievable. I said, but look at you talking to me on a planet traveling around thousands and thousands of miles an hour, spinning around, talking to each other, holding a conversation, two beings that are conscious of each other. What's more incredible than that?
Yeah.
So when you think of that, is it really too much of a jump to think that there is a spiritual realm? I don't think so. No. To be honest. Not at all. But I don't know.
I think of it, this is like a vehicle, a car or something for our soul.
Yeah.
And we can just step out and we move on to the next form, the next dimension.
Yeah.
There's so many things, we were saying about, there's so many things that we don't actually know about this world that we live on. There was, I read earlier, there was something like 503 new species discovered last year on this planet. And you think, if we don't know everything about this planet, there are places that we haven't been on this planet, right to the bottom of the oceans and some of the, the deepest jungles. And you think, if we haven't been everywhere on this planet and we don't know everything about this planet, how can we say that there's nothing out there anywhere else?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the arrogance of it, isn't it? It's the arrogance.
Yeah, it is a bit arrogant.
I don't believe in it, or this is rubbish. You can't, it's like people have said to me when I've gone out done investigations. They said, "You won't believe this. You're going to think I'm mad." And it's like, well, no, not really. Your truth is your truth. Because somebody thinks it isn't the truth, doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't. It's your truth, and so long as you know what you saw and believe what you saw, that's good enough for me. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's I don't know. I think a lot of it as well is because people are frightened. They don't want to think about the viewer questions. They want to, go to work, get their money, come home, watch TV, go on nice holidays, buy nice big cars, but don't really want to think outside of that box because it might be a little bit uncomfortable and a bit frightening for them.
Yeah.
Just look at Hubble. They turned Hubble around on a blank, dark bit of sky, took a photo for 5 minutes, and what did it show up? Millions or thousands of galaxies. Which, how come we're not alone? Even if it's just bacteria, we're not alone.
Yeah. And that's the arrogance as well, isn't it? When people turn around and say, "Well, life wouldn't survive on that planet." Well, yeah, but the life on that planet is going to evolve to the conditions of the environment. People on that planet might be saying, "Don't be stupid. People can't live on Earth. It's full of oxygen."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's people don't. It's like some people don't. They seem not to use the common sense that God give them. Yeah.
Well, it's like an alien from another planet and saying, "Well, how can these beings exist with blood going around their bodies?" Like,
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
And then that opens your mind up to more questions.
It does. It's pondering questions like this during lockdown may not be the best thing for your health. Big questions like this, but I don't know. But we'll have to try and get Austin on the next time.
Yeah.
And
see
definitely.
What he's
got to say, because he knows a bit.
This is this kind of subject.
Yeah, I think he thought it was tomorrow we was doing this because he put down looking forward to Dan's video tomorrow.
Did he?
He said, yeah.
He'd be in bed now.
Perhaps he's in a bit of a time slip himself.
He might be. He might well be. Right then, boys, I'll let you go because you need to catch up with the football. What's the score?
0-0. 27 minutes, 0-0.
Fair enough.
That's all right.
Well, thanks, boys.
Shall I just do that update, Dan, on my thing from last time? Because that, I mean, like we were saying, that could be a time slip. You just don't know, do you?
Yes.
So, so if you remember when we did the ghost hunting one, I said that we'd had a bit of an experience on the way back from Ledbury to Gloucester, and it was approaching the M50. And I did some reading up on it. And last night I found, was it last night? I think it was, wasn't it? Or the night before. I found a report of a woman that had been hit by a lorry going in the same direction on that road around the right place back in 2003 at about 7 o'clock in the morning. and she died on the scene. So I'm going to look more into that one. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that could have been a memory replay thing, or
like
or
a stone tape theory, isn't it? It's place of memory.
I don't know if it was. You can't tell if it was intelligent because it was just there and then it wasn't. So to me, it was more like a replay. Because I can't imagine why she would, if she did, if it is her and she did die there, why she would want to keep going back and doing that.
See, that's what intrigued me about it as well. When you said that, or when the report said, and I was reading the report that you put up, and it was like that she died at the scene, bless her.
Yeah.
And so you think, well, okay, that adds more credibility to the fact that she died there.
Yeah.
Then obviously that's something that horrific has maybe has been absorbed into the environment.
Mm.
So, but interesting to find. I wouldn't think, would it be too hard to find out who she was, do you think?
It said there was no name on that report, so I'll look into it a bit more. But, that was obviously an early report, so I don't know if her family had been told or what.
Was that was in the morning, wasn't it? She was.
It was She was. I think she was pronounced dead at 7:20, which was in October. Which is, I saw that in December, so it's not an exact time.
So you're not too far off, though, are you?
But it's not too far off, and she would have been using lights that early in the morning in October, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So.
Poor woman.
Yeah. So it might be nothing to do with that one, but I'll look into it more because it's the right area, and it was going the right way. She was approaching the M50 roundabout. So very strange.
And it's quite. 2003, you say, wasn't it?
2003. That was.
That's really. It's really recent, isn't it? Really, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago.
So that was like 17 years previously. Yeah, so that was, it's a shame for the lady, but that was really interesting to find out. It's not every road that you get a cyclist killed on, is it?
No.
I knew nothing about it before we saw what we saw. So.
Well, Jen saw it as well, didn't she?
Yeah, we both saw it. Yeah, but we were, like I say, we were either side of the van, so if it was a reflection or something.
Yeah.
Although to me, I saw the back wheel, I saw the light bobbing from side to side, and I saw the back. It was like a pale coloured back, and as soon as I put the main beam on, it was just gone.
The good thing is as well is that you got corroboration there because Jen saw it as well, didn't she?
So, like I say, she was on the other side of the van, so if it was a reflection, we wouldn't be seeing the reflection from the same point of view. So,
no, exactly.
Yeah. So,
but very interesting. Yeah, let us know how that
what
information you get.
Yeah, I will do. So, right. Okay,
right. Then. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
I apologise for Rocco in the background.
No, he's fine, isn't he?
Joe?
Yeah.
Joe, why is the little record thing gone?
Mine hasn't.
Nor's mine.
Still says record.
Oh, I see. No.
Maybe. No, we're going to have to start again. No.
Like I had to Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I did, yeah. We done an hour, I think it was. It was a lot shorter on Christmas Day than it was the Christmas Eve one.
Madness.
Right. Never mind.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
I've enjoyed that, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.